to you all. I hope you guys are doing very well today and you're ready to start your day with Shazad Khan and Mohammed Sir.
Wow.
Assalamu alaikum Shazad, hello, how are you?
Walaikum assalam, I'm absolutely perfect. And you know, I had a new word to probably be in my list of assalamu alaikum and hellos. And it was marhaba, which I picked up on this time.
I know, that's why I kind of started to do the hellos more because they just go on for so long.
But how are you?
I'm very good today. I'm feeling actually really good today.
Exactly. And the only reason, well, I think...
You don't know the reason.
Yeah, this is not the only reason, but the weather outside over here in Islamabad is superb. It's amazing. And, you know, for all those people who have been actually wanting to probably go towards the hills or probably Manal or whatever restaurant you want to go, I think today is the day. So please take out time.
That was a very westernized way of saying Manal. Right?
I mean, you know, when you're on television, you gotta play the game. You know,
Okay.
that's how it is.
All right.
So it's raining over here, ladies and gentlemen. There's going to be a bit of shift in the temperature as well. But other than that, everything's fine. Everything's superb, and we
I
hope
hope,
and pray.
Yes, that the rest of Pakistan also gets some nice cool weather because they're very lucky.
Exactly. And you know what we'll do is that we'll try to probably check on the temperatures of the other cities if you know we are able to. But other than that, let's get started with the show. So first things first, top stories for this hour will be started by me. All right, so I've got the first top story. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move on towards the segment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, first thing up, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif says country is marching on path of progress and prosperity and rejected politics of mudslinging and blame game being practiced by his opponents. Quite right, I think.
Yeah, I think no one should be mudslinging.
Yeah.
Keep it to politics. Right, next, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has directed to complete all development projects at the earliest with transparency and within approved costs.
I think that's
all development projects.
Yeah, I think once again that's a great initiative because in the next year we'll be experiencing elections and you know democratic change of power as well. So you know whatever they have started or initiated in terms of projects or development, you know if it gets completed, I think they're going to get more and better vote bank as well. Moving on to the next one, ladies and gentlemen, high-level Iranian delegation led by Foreign Minister Javad Zarif arrives in Islamabad today to discuss bilateral relations and issues of mutual concern with Pakistani leadership.
And finally, World Press Freedom Day is being observed today, and the theme of the day is Critical Minds for Critical Times, Media's Role in Advancing Peaceful, Just and Inclusive Societies. And
wow.
This is something we've been talking about, that you know, everyone needs to do this.
And this is one amazing news as well. You know, thank you very much for, you know, I think I'm going to thank Allah for this, that, you know, we are on such a platform where we get to know such news as well. And other than that, I think media needs to play a very positive role as well towards the societies. But now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on towards the sports. West Indies will resume their second innings today at 40 for 1 against Pakistan on fourth day of second cricket test match at Kensington Oval in Barbados. PTV Sports is telecasting the match live. Well, I think Pakistan is going to win because that has been the trail of the Pakistani team in the test cricket as well. So let's hope for the best.
Exactly. Okay, so now it's moving on to our public service message.
Yeah.
So what is it today?
All right. So yeah, you know, ladies and gentlemen, since it's another segment, so let's move on towards the public service message. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so the public service message we have picked up on today is always make sure that you're a team player.
Yes.
You know, this is what we were talking about, you know, me, Maha, our producers, and, you know, our interns, whenever we sit down, we make sure that, you know, everybody gets to say whatever they feel will actually be better for our show, you know, or probably in our lives as well.
Or when that doesn't happen, it really does upset the balance. And we're not going to sit here and pretend we're perfect. Obviously, with more than one person interaction is involved, there's bound to be disagreements and stuff. It's about how you work together through those. And it's about working together. And today, you know, even that's a perfect example of the show today. You know, the topic is one that's quite a unique topic as well.
It is quite a unique topic, and I think we have discussed once or twice we have discussed this topic as well. But other than that, Ma, you know, there are two types of leadership as well. One, they say that, you know, leading from the front, and then there's one from leading from behind as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, over here within our societies, what happens is that the egos are very fragile. Now, for somebody who gets to be a team leader, obviously there might be a reason behind it. But leaders over here, there's one thing which I want to tell you, and that is that, you know, you can only be a leader if you know how to sacrifice for that spotlight probably which you wanted to gain. So please make sure that you're always a team player. You maintain your balance within the team and amongst your peers and your colleagues, and everything's going to be perfect, because life is about creating balances all the way.
Absolutely. So that is our public service message for today. So now let's move on to the topic of the show.
Whew.
Shazad said, no, it's a very good
Yeah.
public service message, and I think it's very apt. But today we're going to be discussing something that, we've discussed for the last we've thrown it in the conversations every now and again over 3 years. But it's this notion of brain drain. I remember back when I first came here, it was something that we talked about a lot, because it was something that was very concerning.
Because we were very surprised that, somebody moving from England to Pakistan and to work over here to probably give them a newer image, or probably, a very positive image of Pakistan, that this is the place to be. And I think we get to be the brand ambassadors of our country anyways, because we are on television as well. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, in the past 2-3 decades, what we have witnessed is that, for all those people who wanted to become doctors, engineers, or IT experts, obviously they didn't have that much of opportunity over here within Pakistan. So they didn't have any other choices. And even if they did, I think the lifestyle abroad, or probably in the West, was far more better than over here in Pakistan. But now the things over here in Pakistan have even changed. Now, do you think that the brain drain is probably on a higher scale or on a lower scale? These are the things which we are discussing. But other than that, do you think that Pakistan has been able to provide those golden opportunities which everybody needed, or did we fail to create those opportunities?
Exactly, and there's a lot of blame that is assigned to, the government all the time, and this has been going on for decades. But let's find out, how can we get beyond that? Because if we keep using the same excuses, we're not ever going to get out of it. So to discuss this very important subject and to see how can we, what is actually going on, why do people stay or come back, etc. We've been very lucky. We've been joined by Dr. Tyra Batul. She is FRCOG gynecologist and the head of the gynae department. Assalamu alaikum, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. Besides Dr. Tyra Batul, we've been joined by Madiha Sadaf. She is the branch head of GSIS Montessori School. Assalamu alaikum, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Mama, I feel like clapping for you too today as well. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
All right, so ma'am, thank you very much for coming over. It is our pleasure that we get to ask all of our dumb questions, and then you can answer them in a very brighter way as well. But other than that, what is your perspective about brain drain? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Do you think that there's nothing wrong with somebody settling abroad, leaving their own country behind?
I have a very reserved view about this, because I think every student or every person who wants to have higher education is allowed to go anywhere in the world for the study purposes. And the country have to own that person and to bring the student or the person back, individual back to the country. Lies responsibility, number one, with the country also, and with the individual's own perspective also. Okay, what did he want or she want to achieve in the life?
Okay.
What are her goals in life?
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so now let's move on to you, Ms. Madiha. Being the head of a Montessori school, you must have an opinion on this. What are your thoughts on when you hear the term brain drain?
Actually, to some level, like if we talk about an individual, brain drain is definitely happening around everywhere, and that for an individual, it's good. Obviously, they'll have better opportunities and all that. She's right. That depends on individuals basically own perception, what they want to achieve, their own goals and everything. But for a country, obviously, it's a loss. We are losing. We are losing basically a resource. And nobody wants to basically leave, I think, any country unless there's some reason.
Absolutely.
So there are reasons behind.
Obviously, we'll definitely talk about reasons, but there's one more thing, Maha, which I wanted to share. And since when I was studying about brain drain, so there was this amazing article which I read, and it was on the internet, and I can even quote you the source, for example, if people want to know the source. That is that, back in, I'm not exactly sure about the year, but back in 1960s or 70s, there was a time when the Chinese government actually pronounced that, for all those people who are living abroad, and who are Chinese national, what they need to do is that they need to come back home, because if they do not come, their properties will be sold to somebody else. All of them, what did they do? They left their jobs, they came back to China, and now see where they are.
Okay, now that's a great example. So
It's a
what's the
great
question?
example.
Yeah, so now the question over here is, do you think that for all those people who've been going abroad, because quite a lot of our expats, they are a major mark within our foreign direct investments as well. So, you know, the FDIs we get, and then they play a very major role in our economy. How do you do you think, first of all, that they need to come back? Or what is your opinion on that? That they're fine wherever they are, or they can keep on sending remittances and whatnot?
No, no, we definitely need them.
Okay.
We need our people, we need our brains, we need our scholars, we need them back, obviously. And they want to come back as well. And I think we take up some steps like China, just as you just told, they have taken, if we just take up some steps like China, so that would be great.
Okay.
That would
I
be
mean,
great.
that'd be great, but then the thing is there have to be opportunities. So let's ask Dr. Tyra. You went to UK, but then you decided to come back.
Yeah.
So now tell us, what was your story? I mean, because you didn't contribute, you contributed to the brain drain for a set number of years, but then you decided to come back.
I went to UK for in search of higher education, and I have been working in the government sector before I left for UK.
Okay.
And my reason for going there was, of course, to achieve knowledge.
Okay.
And when I did that, I had love for my country, and I decided to come back. That was my own decision.
Right.
Although I had very interesting and very higher opportunities in UK
All right.
to progress.
Okay.
And if I used or accepted those, then I would have been at a much higher position.
Okay.
But when I came back to my country, I got a job in a 18 grade,
Okay.
and I did
Which was better than what you left with, or the same, or what?
or the same.
The same.
It was the same job
Okay,
which I
same
left
job.
6 years ago.
Okay.
I did not had any house or accommodation. I did not had any transport, and I have to rent a house or a room or a flat apartment
Right.
to live in. And then I started from scratch.
Okay.
And in our structure for doctors, you are promoted to a higher level, grade 20, 21. That's the utmost you achieve.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's with your age.
Okay.
It doesn't have to do anything with your expertise. That you have come with a higher degree or a knowledge, but you have to go down the bottom line.
Okay.
So the first few years were very frustrating.
Okay.
That why I came back.
Yeah.
All right.
Because the place I left 7 years ago, when I came back, it was the same or the worse.
Yeah. Same if not worse. Yeah.
Because I'm talking about, because I'm a doctor, I had to go back to my own regional hospital.
Yeah.
And when I came back with all the fantasies from United Kingdom, because I have been working at 3, 4, 5 different areas, and the district hospital of UK
Yeah.
was like our Shifa International in Pakistan.
Yeah.
And there was a huge difference in the working, in the equipment, in the guidelines, and in everything
Well,
I did.
appreciation for the actual skill that the individual has as well. How much was it more of a personal, for your personal career, disappointment rather than a career disappointment? What was it? Was it a mixture of both?
Personal, sorry?
Was it more of a personal disappointment that you had all these ideas and then you realized actually during my career, for my career, coming back to Pakistan was a big mistake?
Yes, but then later on I realized when I started hospital, the conditions of our hospitals are still appalling. 2 peoples on a bed, 2 delivered maternity women with 2 kids. It's impossible to adjust them on a bed.
Right.
Severe anemia,
Okay.
hemorrhage, poor malnutrition.
Okay, we don't want to create a completely bleak
Yeah.
picture, but then what happened? So then
But
what happened?
that's kept me in my country.
Okay.
That I wanted to serve them. So
Right.
I wanted to continue to improve them, their condition.
Right. Okay. Wait. Sorry. I have to
Yeah,
ask this.
go ahead.
So now you made this decision as an individual.
As an
because
individual.
for your love for your country.
Yeah.
Now, what about the impact that these decisions were having on your children and your family? Sorry, Madhya, we'll come to you in a moment. I just wanna get this.
Yeah, a lot, because when I was in England, compare the salaries which I was getting there as a registrar and coming here in 19th grade, I was earning 2 lakhs in Pakistan, more than 2 lakhs. And in Pakistan, I had 7,000 per month
7,000 only.
only
All right.
I know this
In
story
the
before.
19th grade.
in 19th grade.
This happens.
Okay, so now over here, there's one more thing which I need to ask, and that is that, you know, why in the first place did you choose Pakistan over England? You know, see, this is something which the youngsters need to know. This is something which our people need to know, because you went through those hardships.
Yeah.
You went to UK. You were there in search of your higher education. You got the job. You were a registrar over there, and then you chose Pakistan. And you knew that, you know, the moment you're going to go back to Pakistan, the luxury lifestyle you have over here is not going to be around. So you made a decision then. What made you make this decision?
When we are studying in medical school, college, and for higher education, in search of higher education in the hospitals, we are always reading the books from abroad, from written by UK authors, USA authors, all the journals published. I'm talking about my era, when I was a medical student. Now I am 60 and I'm retired. So you can see how long ago we're talking about, when I was 20. And in search of knowledge, it's our religion, it says, go to China even if you have to go.
Yeah.
And I was discussing this with my husband, why China? He said, because in those days,
It was far away.
far away.
Yeah.
And that was a quote which is being used. So I had a lot of, there was no guidance, there was no career guidance.
Right.
Because father said, you have to become a doctor. I became a doctor.
That's where I wanted to move on to as well.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Finished. Yeah.
I was a writer. I wanted to write.
All right.
But my father was a politician. He was a lawyer also. And he has a very good skill, counseling skills. His sentences still echo in my mind.
Which is?
That you are a writer by birth, but you want to achieve something in this world which will help the people.
That's very nice.
Writer, you can write anything, because I wrote a story when I was very young, and it got a first prize in a journal. And he said, you have published one, so you can do that without any
great, yeah.
guidance. But what you spend your energy, your brain, to learn something more than that.
And when you did something for the people of your country, I think then your country deserves you too as well.
Yes.
I believe, you know, this brain drain, this depends on the class as well.
Yeah.
Like the middle class has more like trend to go abroad
Yeah.
for their future perspectives.
Absolutely.
Taking her example in mind, I believe she had a good setup here already. So she went abroad. She had her, you know, early
Further
higher
education.
education, and then she returned back because she knew she's already settled and she'll further grow.
No, but
Wait,
there's
wait,
a
wait,
reason
wait,
to
I
that.
didn't-
Yeah.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Let finish, please.
See, so like if I take example of my own family, my own sisters, my brothers, they're abroad, and she's a doctor as well. See, and the husband, her husband is engineer, and she doesn't actually take decision to come back, although she wants sometimes.
Okay.
Why she wants? She wants basically the reason when it comes to the kids, it's about their brought up,
Okay.
it's about their security, the values, the transferring values system. So there she feels, okay, no, we need to go back. But when it comes to her salary, she do not find enough good job here.
Okay, wait, okay, now I'd like to add that
Yeah, go
parents
ahead.
who go abroad, you don't need to worry about the cultural shock. They're probably more protected there because they're not exposed to as much in
Exactly.
there.
But
one
other
thing
than
I
that,
did- Wait, before.
there's
because-
one more thing.
No, but I would ask it.
It is very important. Now over here, you know, since you mentioned about the middle class. Now what happens is, since we're talking about the family structures, but I think all around the globe, it's the middle class who's very concerned about their lifestyles or working hard or to probably
'Cause they work
change
so hard.
or probably change the way things are, because the lower class does not even bother about that, and the upper classes
They're
or
fine.
the elite classes, it
Because
doesn't
they're
even
struggling for it,
doesn't even
basically.
matter to them. You know, for all those people over here in Pakistan, what I have witnessed is that, you know, for people who are rich, they don't even send their children to schools. They want them to play polo. They want them to be a sportsman because they can afford to do that. So one thing is decided that it's always the middle class where, you know, the economy of the country depends on them. You know, the entire scenario depends on them as well. Now, other than that, you know, let middle class be all alone. What we need to figure out over here is, are we failing to create opportunities?
Wait. Before we move on to that, this is where I wanted to ask my question.
Go ahead.
Was that now we're talking, Dr. Thyra, you've mentioned that you decided to come back, you decided to go through that struggle. Now, the thing is, how many families have dual income households? That's another thing. Now, when you have the father is the only breadwinner, say, for example, you were the only breadwinner in the house. Like my father, when he tried to come back, he was the only breadwinner. He came back to 7,000 rupees or something like that after going for further education. Now, it was not sustainable with 4 children, then his parents, then extended family. It wasn't sustainable. So you have to find opportunities. Now, what do you do when you're in that situation? Because not everyone can go through that. So people are obviously going to then go abroad because if they have the opportunity. What do you have to say about that, Madiha? As a male, is maybe different. As a female, is it different? What do you think?
I think that depends on an individual. It's totally different. It varies from person to person. So, but I feel, it depends on if we have enough opportunities in Pakistan, and that do not actually depend on us.
See, that's
alone,
where it comes
on an
down.
individual.
Yeah, because
We
now
have
other than that, there's a disagreement,
mentioned
and I obviously want to say it out loud because of the fact that the schools of today are doing that. Okay, first of all, there was no consultancy in the schools when we were studying, within the education system. No, none of the teachers will tell you, okay, what will be great for you in future. Let it be. We're done. We're over that. We're working, alhamdulillah. But now what happens is, okay, so all of the schools we want our children to go to, they might be affiliated with, the Ivy League universities,
Exactly.
this and that and whatnot. And once, they enter
Latest trend.
they enter their A levels. What happens is that the teachers start telling them, oh, this university
Yes,
you're going to get
exactly,
your
you need to
admission
go
in,
there.
this university abroad, this university abroad. None of the schools are saying, oh, we have got LUMS over here, we have got NUST over here, we have got IB over here, why don't you guys apply for those universities? Do you think that it is a status symbol to go abroad too?
Dr. Thyra, tell us about you. How did you do it with your kids?
In my case,
Yeah, in regards to this question.
I mean, do you want your kids to go abroad and
Did
study
they go
and then
abroad?
stay
Did you
over
keep
there
them
or come
here?
back?
I have a daughter. She's 19. Today she was coming to the show, but she had her paper today, and A2, and she has been applying for higher abroad universities abroad for graduation, and she has been accepted for many universities from USA and 2 or 3 from UK.
Okay.
There is a competition going on between the students. How many students are accepted and where are they accepted? And that has created depression between the students. The one who can go and one who cannot go.
Okay.
And there was a girl in A level. She passed away last year because of stress of SAT exam. And she had brain hemorrhage.
Oh, wow.
And she died in Shifa International within 3, her classmate.
sad.
That was very sad. And that day, I told my daughter that do whatever you can do, free, without any stress. The life is not going to end if you do not end up in UK or USA. There are a lot of opportunities in our country.
Absolutely.
There is always place at the top because the stress created by this competition. And if you go onto the Facebook, I have my daughter on my Facebook and I read all her activities on the Facebook. Okay, what is the impression and what is the thought of the today's students? And the one who did not had any one acceptance, eventually he got one from the New York. He wrote a very depressing status on the Facebook. It was the friend and of my daughter, and I read that. And there's one guy who's although from the same class who has got A stars, 7, 8, 9. He's a genius. And he has got Fulbright scholarship. But now his father said, son, you might not get a visa, so I will apply in LUMS also for you. You understand?
Yeah.
This is what is happening.
Right. Okay. Well, that's the thing. This problem with all this, the technical aspect is keeping them here.
Exactly.
So
There's a competition among kids.
now tell us. Now the thing
And the
is,
schools are initiating that. See, this is the point.
how important is it? Because that's the role. Like, why do we have a complex or a chip on our shoulder of being educated from a very good university in Pakistan when we have the opportunity to go to a lesser university abroad?
And I will add to that, Maha. For all those people who were my class fellows, obviously everybody does not get lucky as well. For all those people who made a choice back in those days that they're going to go abroad and study in a university in England or probably in USA or wherever they wanted to, all of them are back in town, and none of them are working. You know, none of them has got a job. None of them got a job over there. None of them got a job over here as well. So, do you think that they missed on their time zones? What did they do? What went wrong? Now,
But
for example,
yeah.
because we always went to for higher educations to countries like these, where we thought that we are going to get brighter opportunities.
You know, it's a long discussion. We have to add up, the education system into it as well. Because we are promoting obviously OA levels and promoting obviously
And now there's international
international
baccalaureate.
exactly. Yeah, but that is the requirement basically.
All right.
Because we cannot adjust. We cannot fit in all the pass out students.
Okay.
All right.
In the
Okay,
town.
so we'll definitely talk about that. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, we need to go for a short break. And when you guys are going to come back, I've got a letter from a son to his father. And the son's studying in USA. And he's trying to explain to his father why he wants to stay in United States of America for a longer period of time. Don't go anywhere. Feel anticipated about the letter. Let's take a break.
Welcome back, everyone. And before the break, we were in discussion with our guest about this notion of brain drain. And what's that word? What's the word of brain drain? It's a
Brain drain.
social something.
I think that's what the word is, brain drain
Okay.
itself. I mean, but other than that, now, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time that I share the letter which a son
Yes.
writes to his father back in Pakistan from United States of America, where his father is actually trying to ask him, "How is USA?" So this is how it goes. I'm going to read it in Urdu because he wrote it in Urdu,
And
and
then
then
I'm
I'll
going
try
to give you a
to translate.
summary
Yeah.
of it.
Mohtaram Walid Saab, Assalamu Alaikum. Dear father,
Oh,
Assalamu
you want me to
alaikum.
do it line by line? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
यहाँ मौसम का एतबार नहीं. The guy is now telling about USA himself. यहाँ
Are
मौसम
you
का
translating it or am I translating?
you're doing it.
Okay.
यहाँ मौसम का एतबार नहीं, लड़की वफादार नहीं, मजहब से सरोकार नहीं, खुलूस और प्यार नहीं, पर बदलने को कोई तैयार नहीं.
So basically, you don't know anything about the weather. The women are not faithful. No one's willing. Then
No,
what?
nobody's
This is
willing
all you
to,
do. I can't.
or nobody's willing to love you as well. You know, there's nobody's going to get very emotional or emotionally attached to you, and nobody wants to change over there.
Yeah.
And then the second phrase he says, यहाँ फजूल त्यौहार नहीं, बेटी किसी पर बार नहीं, सड़कों पर गुबार नहीं, भिखारियों की पुकार नहीं, नलकों पर कतार नहीं, किसी को किसी से खार नहीं, सब कुछ तो है पर खाने को अचार नहीं. Now till here what he's trying to say is that, you know, USA is a developed country where a daughter is not a symbol of burden onto their parents. You know, there's no dust around. There are no poor people begging. They're not asking for money. You know, the environment is just clean, safe, and healthy as well. But other than that, you know, what he misses about Pakistan, that's what he's telling. यहाँ पर खाने को अचार नहीं, घी का बगार नहीं, कोरमे में तार नहीं, चूड़ियों की झनकार नहीं, दाता दरबार नहीं. So what he's saying is that, you know, you do not get to eat chicken korma over here, or, you know, the traditional foods, or data darbar, the places like data darbar, or the, you know, places where we used to go as kids. But other than that, the last phrase he says, you know, which took my heart away as well, he says, मजबूरी है क्योंकि मुल्क में तो रोजगार नहीं. And he says that, you know, I'm not able to look for a solution because of to come back to Pakistan, because you do not have enough job opportunities in the country. Wa alaikum assalam. And he's trying to say that to his father, that I'm going to be here in USA for a longer period of time.
And that's wonderful, because let's talk about this, the opportunity situation. Now, even when there are opportunities, I mean, people do come to Pakistan, you know, there are youth here, they do get jobs. But when you get back into that environment as well, so I'll start with you, Dr. and then I'll move on to you, Madiha. When you came back, you said it's about the promotion. So the guys talking about opportunities. You struggle through it. So a lot of people don't want to go through that. So how do we, you know, how do we resolve this? Because I think we're working towards the end of the show. So let's talk about how do we get out of this mentality.
Yeah, I think what we need to do is that the career structures to be reorganized for certain departments or certain organizations and things. And the other thing which I feel is that the people who leave the country, they are on books, they are on record. And a nation or a country should keep an audit. How many people are leaving the country, for what reason, for what type of education, doctors, engineers, scientists, whatever. So, and every year, when the A-level, FSc, engineering, after post-graduation, there should be a record maintained of the people leaving the country for whatever the education they want. And the education department and the related departments, like for doctors, the College of Physicians and Surgeons, and PMDC. For engineers, their own organizations. For scientists, their organizations. They should keep an eye on these students and to bring them back. Once they have finished their education, meanwhile they are finishing their education, there should be opportunity for them. They should be booked for that.
Okay, absolutely.
No, but ma'am, there's one more thing, and that is that, you know, brain drain, and, you know, when we talk about it, I've seen quite a lot of people getting, you know, scholarships from HEC, Higher Education Commission, and they go to other countries, whether they have their contracts intact, that, you know, okay, if the HEC is going to pay for their for their degree, they come back and then they work for 2 years or 3 years for HEC. They don't come back.
I'm sorry to interrupt you for this, because suppose if I'm an engineer, I have got a scholarship to do my PhD or something in some department, but I'm living in Pakistan. While as an engineer in an organization, how much I am going to earn? I have 4 kids.
Rupees,
I have 2 kids, 4 kids, 1 wife, 2 parents dependent on me. We have a family system, and we can. Your unmarried brothers, sisters, your father is old. You are educating them also. So the earning member of the family is a lot of liabilities.
Exactly.
And how to fulfill those liabilities? If you go abroad, If you're getting a pay of 50,000 here, you're 3 lakhs there. So you can send them money and they can have a reasonable, respectable life and they can continue with their education. So either we need a system that a single person who is earning member of the family have a certain liability and the rest of the liability is given to the government. The government is responsible for them, for their education, for their nutrition, for their shelter and for their health. Then only a single person, earning member of the family can survive in this country.
Very valid.
Okay,
point.
Madiha.
Other than providing better job opportunities, I believe there are two more things important to bring all people back. Number one, the security. The environment should be more secure. Once they are back, they have this reason. Number two, the lifestyle. The load shedding, the gas, such sort of things. When even they come for vacations, they are bothered and they literally say, "How come you people survive here?" So how can they think about coming back?
Absolutely. Now the thing is, now this is you raised some really valid points, and absolutely, it needs to be a research and it could be a
Audit.
thesis,
Targeted
Audit of the people.
Yeah, I think also some
Leaving and
students.
coming back to
Exactly.
the
Absolutely. Now the thing is, but to what extent? Now the thing is, we have systems in place. There is a legal system. There is all of these things. You have unions within workplaces. You have the private organizations. Now, at what point do we need to now make our voices heard as a community, all together as a nation, to say, well, actually, these are the problems? Because if we're constantly like, oh, what can we do about it? What can we do? Because this is another mentality that we hear. That we want people to come back, but we're not making that environment for them.
Actually, the concerned departments, they are basically responsible and they need
But the
to
departments won't
about it.
take concern until there's accountability and consequences for them not. So how do you not think it falls onto the citizens of the nation as well?
Yes, I agree with you because if we keep on finding faults with every system, but what do we participate?
Yep.
How I want to change the system? How can I improve the system? And that is through my vote. And the vote, if you are understanding the problem of your constituency, and you are understanding the importance of your vote, and you understand the people you choose to represent you, and the people who make laws for you in the parliament, and the people who can understand that the people of Pakistan are suffering at a very grassroots level, in villages, in towns, and I think it's every person's responsibility to participate in that, and raise a voice. I need this. I need this.
Yes, absolutely. How about you, Madhya? Any final words?
Well, what can I say? We have tried both, the sides of the government. So,
Okay, but what would you say to all those students?
no other option.
I'm getting a little.
The third one is difficult.
Verbal disclaimer comes out.
Yeah, no. What would you say to all those parents out there who have children who may be going abroad? What would you say to them? How should they be thinking about the future steps they take about? Should they come back to the country? What kind of career? What should they do?
Inshallah, definitely we should look for a better future, and we should definitely own our country, and being little patriotic, we should give this thing to our children.
Okay.
Exactly.
What I
Parents
think is,
should.
I'm sorry to interrupt. What I think is that suppose I came back and I did not had a sifarish to get a proper
another
job, but I did not ask for one.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And I was thrown behind from my line of promotion. I did not ask any
Help.
There should be a merit already made. I should not fight for a merit.
Exactly. This is another
Because
point.
if I fight for merit, I will have a sifarish.
That's
This is-
another
this is-
problem, and
But that's what we were trying to. That's what I was trying to lead earlier in the conversation. That
Yeah.
when you get into work and then your education abroad is not being valued.
And the
as well.
reason why I did not want a sifarish for myself, because that was the teachings from my family and my parents
And that's where it comes
and
down
my
to-
dad.
And I
That's
think
great.
that's something
And
which
we've run out of
everybody
time.
needs to listen to as well. But ma'am, thank you very much
Thank
for
you so
coming
much
over.
for
Thank
being
you
here.
very much for sharing your experiences. But other than that, there's one more point which I would love to share with all our amazing viewers who are out there. See, in life, to look for a better future or for a better opportunity is not bad. It's good. We're not saying that you shouldn't go. All we're trying to convey over here is that, you know, when you've got your hands on a skill which you think is going to be very beneficial for your country, or you're going to initiate a process of further development, please make sure that you come back and play your role.
Or at least try to. You know, that's because one should try at least. And, you know, we don't want to put any pressure on anyone. It's about just doing what's best for your family and the future generations as well. Now, let's move on to our fruit of the day.
I
And
think today we've got a vegetable picked up on, ladies and
I always say
gentlemen.
fruit, I meant vegetable.
And yeah, all right. So the vegetable we picked up on is
Cabbage.
cabbage.
let's take a look at
It is
cabbage.
famously known as gobi over here, ladies and gentlemen.
And it's
type here-
delicious.
And there are two types of cabbages as well. The first one over here in Urdu is just gobi, and the other one is band gobi.
Okay, great.
Because
So-
it's enclosed cabbage.
And yeah, that's fine. So is cabbage. So basically, it's good for detoxification of your stomach and your colon.
It stimulates immune system, and it is good for antibacterial and viral things.
And it is also good as an anti-cancer vegetable.
It contains antioxidants,
Builds your muscles.
and it cleanses your blood,
It strengthens your eyes.
and it's antifungal.
And it is rich in iron and sulfur. So there's a lot of people who have iron deficiency.
Yeah,
So
so
with
please make
that-
sure that you get tested as well for that.
Exactly. So what I would like to say is that, you know, you owe something to your country, but you don't owe it at the sake of your own peace of mind, your health, your security, or your family. You have to go where the opportunities take you, so try and create opportunities too. So with that, log on to our Facebook fan
It
page,
is with the name of World This Morning.
Twitter page,
World This Morning without a G.
our Daily Motion YouTube page.
World This Morning. World This
And
Morning.
the repeat is at
11 p.m.
We will see you bright and early tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.
Till the
Enjoy
next
weather.
time, 1, 2, 3. Good
morning.
morning.